with, things that I'm curious about as far as my car, the way it is. So, you saw my last video. I was having a lot of fun, blasting up and down the roads. That was great. I did a few more highway pulls that weren't recorded. I really should have recorded those. 8,000 RPM in 5th gear in a supercharged car really sounds pretty amazing. I was logging through a lot of those runs just to see how the car is running. Obviously it's driving good, feels good, but it looks like the stock sensor, the air fuel sensor, the O2 sensor, primary O2 sensor, whatever you may call it, whatever it goes by, that's reading very, very rich, like in the 10s. We compared it to another sensor at the dyno. This one was strapped to the tailpipe. Looked like a very accurate machine, but that's reading 1 point higher. So let's say the car is actually running at 11.6. The sensor is picking up 10.6, something like that, right? Me being who I am, I'm like, hey Jose, here's the logs. Tell me what you think. Pig rich, looks rich. Jose has a keen eye, keen ear for things, and he's like, dude, I don't know. He's not, as happy as I am with my car, he's like, I'm not thrilled about the fact that it says it's running rich. Now the only real way to get a good comparison from that is to get a wideband gauge. They're very popular. AEM makes a very good one. I don't have one, not right now. And number one is, it's not a good logging tool for me to stare at it, data log, maybe look at my Hondata mobile app and see what that's doing, and then on top of that, put together all of that information and then read it on a laptop and try to remember where the air fuel ratio was and stuff. To get real data, you really have to tap in that gauge and that controller to your ECU. Back in the day, we used to have to solder that stuff into K-Pro. Now, this one was tough to find because normally I didn't ask the forum. I know there aren't too many guys right now doing this much modding. I went on Facebook and I asked, and some guys replied and they were very willing to like brainstorm and stuff, but no one had an answer for like, how do you either replace our stock air fuel ratio meter with something that's like a true wideband, something that reads very fast, like the AEM one. And you can't just splice your wires and go ahead and tap in that one. It's different voltages. So what's the solution? Well, you still need at least the sensor and the controller. You could buy, I think, the sensor, controller, and gauge for around $150 to $200. Prices vary wherever you're looking for. And it does have a sending wire that'll hook up to almost any ECU, including ours if you have FlashPro. So what I am doing now, and this is why the whole thing about like one last run, I really wasn't gonna be doing any of this stuff. So I have until the 17th to get that gauge with the sensor, some gauge pods. I already have one gauge pod, but I'm not gonna use it. I changed my mind. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And wire the whole thing up before the 17th of February, which is, I don't know, roughly about 2 weeks from now. Plenty of time, really. Like, honestly, it's not a lot of work. Just the only concern is getting things here on time. So that's the plan. The plan is to do some more DIYs, or at least one more DIY. Last DIY for now. Okay, got my milk. Okay, so where was I? Air fuel gauge, 2 weeks, whatever. house this morning. I couldn't figure out through my own research and asking questions on some very useful Facebook groups exactly what I needed to do for this to work out. So I woke up today, I did some work, had some coffee, and I decided I was going to contact FlashPro. I mean, they make this stuff, so they might know better, right? I was like, you know, before I contact them, let me do something called RTFM. Look that up if you have to. I opened the FlashPro software on my laptop and I went to the help section and I looked up wideband, AEM, whatever. So finally I did find a very, very good write-up of exactly what you need to do exactly what I'm trying to do. So it's very simple, really. You take the sending wire from your gauge, your AEM gauge, you route it over to the secondary temperature sensor, the one that hooks up to the radiator on our cars, and you tell the ECU, I want you to read wideband from this sensor. Go ahead and try to get that done. Hopefully everything works out before the dyno day so we can get some really good readings. As far as gauge pods, where I'm going to mount this thing, I already have a gauge pod from Ortiz Custom Gauges. It's a very nice piece, but I decided to do something different. I'm going to be using the gauges from this guy on Etsy. I think a Drucifer or something like that. I'll put a link somewhere here for his for where I got these things. They're very neat. I first saw them on the white car that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago now, and I asked him, hey, where'd you find this thing? Etsy. So I looked it up, easy to find, and so I'm gonna mount the gauges to where the air vents are, and that should be a clean look. I've always said I don't want to have a ton of gauges in this car. I really prefer just a clean looking car, but who doesn't like a couple of gauges, you know? Like I like a couple of gauges. So forgot I have traction control on. Let me turn that shit off. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. There's one other guy on the forum that I was talking to. He was actually looking to the same thing, and he messaged me right around the same time that I was looking to do this. If I wasn't, I would have been like, dude, I'm not sure, I've never done this, or you might have to solder your ECU, because based on my memory, that's what I did before. So thank goodness something is a little bit easier here. I don't have to solder my ECU, which is great. Last time I did that, it was sketchy. I didn't know if my car was going to start after that, but I did okay. You're done modding and you're done doing certain things. Maybe some of you are like me, maybe not. Hit me up in the comments, let me know if you're a freak like me, like, oh, you know, you wake up in the morning and the first thing you think is like, what am I gonna do next? Or you tell yourself, I'm done modding for now, but then like a week later, you done changed your mind. I'm gonna try to find a good spot to do you guys